welcome back to the studio. You may notice that I look a little bit different today. I don't have my glasses on because I lost them. Luckily, I have found them. They're with a friend, so I'll pick them up tomorrow, but I've been a little bit tired this week due to not having my glasses. So today I'm excited to share something that's just a fun short video. I'm doing a first impression swatching of a brand new watercolor paint brand, Roman Szmal Aquarius. So I contacted the brand directly, and Roman Szmal sent me a little envelope with some paints to review. This brand is unique. They're a very small brand out of Poland, but they launched with 140 different watercolor paints, which is more than any other brand except for Daniel Smith. And of those 140 paints, 117 of them are single pigment, which again that's more single pigment paints than the majority of professional watercolor paint lines have in their entire line. So I was really impressed. I contacted the brand and they very generously sent me these 12 paints to review. So these are the 12 paints that I received from Roman Szmal Aquarius. They're all in full pans because that's currently the only format that they make paint in, although Roman Szmal assures me that they are currently working on making tube paints. So I requested 6 paints and received those 6 paints and 6 others that were chosen for me. In this video, I'm just going to swatch all of the paints that I received and compare them to some other paints in my collection as well in similar colors. So if you're new here, my name is Lee Angold. I'm a botanical and natural science illustrator, and on this channel I share watercolor techniques and tips and some insights into my daily life as an illustrator. So if that's content you're interested in, don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below. So just getting into it, now I am unwrapping my first paint, which is Permanent Orange, made with PO59, which is a unique pigment. This is the only brand that offers it. So you can see this is a nice pan, full to the brim. Unfortunately, there's no labeling on the pan itself, just on the wrapper. So there's lots of information on the wrapper, none on the pan. But PO59 is a nickel azo orange color, which isn't available from any other brand. So I was super excited to try this brand new pigment. I was surprised at how difficult it was to re-wet and low tinting. I expected it to be very powerful, like nickel azo yellow, which I love, or even PG10 nickel azo green, which I made myself. You can see in the art cards. But this one's a little bit weaker. So that was a bit surprising. But that's up to the pigment, I think, not the brand's mistake or anything. I got a little carried away though, and was using a bit of a dirty brush here. So you'll see in a moment I wipe that off, and now I'm going to move on to my next paint. I'll get back to the Permanent Orange. So the next is Aquarius Red PR214. And you'll see as I unwrap this, this is a very sticky wrapper. So there's some consistency differences between different pigments in this line. And here we have our PR214. So the only other brand that offers this is Old Holland. I'll leave my Old Holland review up above, but this is a nice sort of a candy apple red. It's fairly transparent. It's got a little bit of a cool undertone, but it's fairly mid-red on the darker side. So it's really, really gorgeous. Next, I've got Indanthrone Blue, or Indanthrone, or Indanthrene as other brands call it. PB60. So this is always in my palettes. I always have this. So I have it from a couple of different brands, so I wanted to try it from Roman Szmal so that I could compare a pigment that I'm familiar with, in addition to some of the weirder ones. So this is a paint that I requested, and Here you can see this is quite a bright blue, but there's some weird granulation going on. So they call it a non-granulating paint, which is correct. Indian Throne Blue usually is non-granulating, but you can see that there's some clumping of the pigment in here. So whether that's they haven't mulled it enough or there's not enough dispersant, but they call it non-granulating and it is definitely clumping or granulating or something. Next, Cypress Burnt Umber. So this is one of their natural earth paints, so they're very proud of having sourced a number of unique natural earth paints. So this is Burnt Umber from Cypress. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Burnt Umber is usually a really nice middle brown. And you'll see that there's some spilling in this pan. So that's small batch paints for you. And oh my goodness, though, look at this beautiful brown. So it's nice and transparent with a little bit of granulation. A nice deep brown, just a little bit of warmth to it, but it's not as reddish as, say, burnt sienna. So I tend to prefer this for the brown spot in my palette. Really gorgeous version of a burnt umber. Next, we have a deep green gold made with PY129. So this is the most common pigment used for green gold paints. But like Daniel Smith, Roman Szmal Aquarius has chosen to label their PY129 deep green gold, and then they also offer a green gold. So this is a single pigment version, and this is one of the, you can't really see it in this lighting, unfortunately, but this is one of the most saturated, greenest, brightest PY129s I have ever seen, which I'm super impressed with. I really like this. It's nice and smooth. Really saturated, easy to re-wet. And now I'm going to go back and rework that permanent orange. So you can see this is quite transparent. Nice, smooth, yellowy orange. It's kind of like a New Gamboge or an Indian yellow, maybe slightly more on the orange side. And next I'm unwrapping the Aquarius green. So this is the first of a few multi-pigment mixes. So the Aquarius green is PY150, PBR25, and PB29. So we're expecting strongly granulating, something like maybe a Cascade green from Daniel Smith. We'll see how this paints out. So again, ooh, here we go. So this is much warmer than Cascade green. So it's a much yellower, think of like a deep sap green, maybe more of an olivey green, but it's got a strong separation in it. So if you want a single tube green that's got a little bit of a texture to it, for forest textures or something, this is a really nice paint. Next we've got Pribris Gray. Sorry, I'm probably butchering this Polish name. Again, another 3 pigment mix, PB29, PR177, and PG26. So this is sort of a purpley violet tone, deep shadow color. And here, painting this out. So this starts out quite dark, and you can see some separation. Now this isn't as strong a granulating separation as you might see in, say, some of the Daniel Smith Effects paints. It seems like these paints are milled a little bit closer, but you can still see there's quite a marked effect there. So there is some separation in this too, which is, this is an effects paint. next we're gonna try Hematite. And this is interesting. I have a number of Hematite tubes. It is a natural mineral, so it varies. But the Hematites I've tried in the past have all been more transparent and strongly granulating. And from the label, this seems like, it's marked opaque and it looks very red. So we'll see how that goes. And here, yeah, this is unlike any hematite that I've ever seen. I think most brands would call this an English red. So it's completely opaque. You can barely see the line through there. It does have some granulation, but it's more of a velvety sort of finish. Nice, a deep, opaque brick red. Next, we're gonna try green gold. So they have a deep green gold and then they have green gold. Now, in Daniel Smith, the green gold was originally made with PG10, so it's a greener tone. This one is made with PY150, PY129, and PG36, so it might be a brighter color, maybe a little bit greener. We'll see. Although their PY129 is quite green, so. Okay, so it's really difficult to see with my camera lighting. I'm very sorry, but what is going on here is this is what you can really see is that PY150 shining through. It is not greener by any means than the deep green gold. If anything, it's just yellower. It's more enthusiastic. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. So they are different. I would probably go for the PY129 in this case. And then here I have the olive green yellowish, which is a very interesting 4-pigment mix. So that's PBR 25, PB 29, it's a very sticky paint as you can see. I don't even know. PY129 and PY150, so that's 4 pigments in there. And here we can see, so this is another sort of green goldy type color, but this one's deeper and you can see right away that it's got that strong granulation coming through. So if you want something like a green gold, but that has a lot more texture to it, then you would want a color like this. In general, I probably would not go for a 4-pigment mix though. Now we have another effects paint. So this is Shadow Violet. So Daniel Smith also has a Shadow Violet. I don't own that paint. I've seen it. We'll see how this compares to what I remember. This is made with PG50, PB29, and PV19. Or PV16? PV something, sorry. And so this is a cooler version of the Purvis Gray above, and it's got sort of a denser granulation. You can sort of see the cool effect of the PG50. And the final color I'm painting out now is Van Dyke Brown, made with NBR 8. So this is the only company offering this pigment. It's a natural, deep, dark, coffee brown color. It's absolutely beautiful. This is the most granulating color of any of the Roman Szmal Aquarius paints I've tested out. And it's a really, really gorgeous deep brown. So I really love this paint. And this was one of the ones that they sent me that I hadn't requested. So I'm really pleased with that. Now I'm going to quickly do a glazing test of all of these paints. You'll see that some of them, particularly the Aquarius Red and the Indanthrone Blue coming up, do glaze up quite a bit brighter, which is really, really beautiful to see. Some really bold colors coming out with glazing. And now, while I finish up glazing these colors, I have a question for you. I've been meaning to do some more tutorials and paint with me videos. It's been very challenging for me because the way I paint is so detail oriented. I need to be very close to my work, which means recording is a little difficult because my face is in the way, and also I tend to take a very long time on each piece, so editing gets a little tricky because I need to speed them up without losing any content. However, I'm really excited to do some more tutorials and paint with me, and one of the things I wanted to do was paint a piece using these colors. But because I got such an interesting selection of colors from Roman Szmal, I'm not really sure what subject to paint that would make best use of these paints. So if you could let me know down in the comments below what you think that these colors would be useful for. I'm looking forward to hearing your suggestions for what to paint with these beautiful paints. And then you'll get to see it in a future video. While you're there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when my next video comes up. So as you can see, these Roman Szmal Aquarius watercolors are all glazing beautifully. I'm getting some nice, deep, rich mass tones from thicker applications as well as glazing. They're all glazing very cleanly. I'm seeing some really beautiful granulation effects in the glazes. And so the last thing that I'm going to do on this sheet is compare the Roman Szmal Aquarius paints that I just swatched to some paints that I already have in my palette in similar colors. So first up, I'm doing Indanthrone Blue, and I'm using Daniel Smith on just below where I just painted, and now I'm painting out the Roman Szmal above it. You can see that the Roman Szmal is much brighter. It's a beautiful color. I much prefer the Roman Szmal Aquarius version of this paint. However, it does have a weird clumping granulation effect, so there is some production issue there. Next, I'm painting a few different versions of green gold. So up at the top here is Azo Green by M. Graham, which is the second most bright greenish PY129 after the Roman Szmal. So again, the Roman Szmal is outperforming the commercial brand that I'd tried before. You can see it, that's the second swatch there. Next, I'm doing the Roman Szmal Green Gold, which is a 3-pigment mix, which is similar but more yellowish, like a brighter yellow. And then I'm using PG10 made by myself, which is what I thought the green gold would be modeled on, but it's a bit greener. Again, with this lighting, I'm losing light, so you can't really see what's going on. And in this scan, you can see that I've also swatched PY153, Perylene Dark Red, and a couple of versions of Hematite. You can also see how well that Roman Szmal Aquarius watercolors stack up against other professional brands. Finally, I'm going to rate the Roman Szmal Aquarius watercolors on 5 criteria. On selection, I'm giving Roman Szmal a 10 out of 10. This is an incredibly well thought out and extensive line. On quality, I'm giving Roman Szmal a 9.5 out of 10. They compare very favorably to other brands, however, they do have some odd granulation issues with their Indanthrone Blue. On value, I'm giving Roman Szmal Aquarius 10 out of 10. These are some of the most affordable watercolors available currently. On documentation, I'm giving Roman Szmal 9 out of 10. They have a very well documented line, however, they do not have a website or a way for me to get my hands on a physical printout. Finally, on packaging, I'm giving Roman Szmal an 8.5 out of 10 only because they are only available in pans and also because the pans are sometimes a little messy or hard to open. I hope you enjoyed this watercolor review, and let me know if you're going to try Roman Szmal Aquarius watercolors yourself. Bye bye, see you next time.